Hi everyone, Happy New Year. Welcome to this week's video, part 2, all about colour, experimentation with colour. As I said last week, I have been working in my A4 Canson and also on the A2 sheet. I will drop a video in, a Speedy Gonzales, as one lovely subscriber likes to call it, when I go fast forward. I think it would be so boring if you had the amount of time I spend. I have to speed those reels up because otherwise the video would go on and on and on. There are marks where I've just pushed in excess paint, a few splatters, so I'm not worrying about those. This was my attempt at trying to be more muted. When I edit and watch the clips, I often think, oh, stop, because that was better than where I am. When it starts to go a little bit muddy, I get carried away, I go too far. But getting carried away and going too far is a good thing because it makes you respond. Led me to go bold. And I'll drop in the photographs of the stages that got me to this point. So then I started thinking about finding a different colour palette, just toning back. I will drop the video in. I mix grey from black and white. I wanted a fairly pale grey, and I want to use that grey in every colour that I decide to put down on the A2 sheet. So I'm just taking some white and black. I want to mix a grey, but I want it to be a really pale grey. I'm just using inexpensive paints. These are the Graduate acrylics from Daler Rowney. I want to be paler than that, so more white. I quite like these enamel tin plates because, oh gosh, because you can just put a little bit of cling film over the top and the acrylic won't dry out. This is Permanent Green Light, Winsor & Newton acrylic, and I just want to see if I take a little bit of that green. I want to see if I mix it with the grey. I want to try and find I don't want, normally I love that green, but I want to mix up quite a large amount. I think it's going to work. That's the type of colour. That's what I'm aiming at. So that's what I went ahead and did, and I used the inexpensive black and white. These are not, the price of everything, as you've probably noticed, is going silly. They're not so inexpensive. The Newton, Winsor & Newton, this is green light. So that, and a primary blue. So I put grey into my green, and I put grey into my blue. And then, because I couldn't resist it, I had on my dish all those colours, and I couldn't resist putting the whole lot down. And you will see on the video, I just make obviously a muddy mess. However, the muddy mess sitting here made me, I couldn't stop thinking, well, I've got to get rid of that. What am I going to do with that then? I could just take white acrylic paint and block the whole lot out, but I didn't want to do that. I decided to put down some duct tape. First of all, I had a go with cardboard to try and see if I could get some stenciling done with cardboard. Absolutely, that was hopeless. I can't get a clean edge, and I wanted a clean edge. So I've left this. Last night I put down, this is just a rough bit of white paint, and I left this just to show you. This is extra wide duct tape, but I wanted just to be able to try and show you. I won't waste my tape because I'll use again. But you get a nice clean edge here from using duct tape. So last little bit is up. So there's no, at the moment, it could be either way, it can go any way. So I need to strengthen the white, but the duct tape is much more of a success than the cardboard stencil. What I have in mind is to put some geometric pattern across this, And then when I'm happy with the ground, when I've had enough playing around, enough experimentation, I'll then go back to my subject of snake plant and start to introduce it and see where it wants to go. I'm working on the kitchen table where I can, but over the holidays, a snippet of time, it might be 10 minutes here, 5 minutes there. If I'm lucky, I can get an hour. But in the evening, I'm really enjoying working on the sofa. Lots of collage here that I then painted over. I quite like that effect. More experimentation with pattern. And obviously I'm not looking at my snake plant. This is just drawing from your imagination. And these two are just at an early stage. There's so much I can work into here. This was a bit of colour experimentation. I was thinking, if I run with orange and blue, what is the green that comes from that? So again, they were still very, very strong, very bold, because they're saturated. So to desaturate, I know that I need to add some grey. I was thinking about the greens that I really like, and I love greyed green. Obviously, we know that green and red are what green and red, Gaynor? Green and red are complementary. In my mind at the moment, exactly where I am at the moment, is that I want to get this mix of muted, greyed down, desaturated colour, and then I want to come in to introduce some vivid colour as a contrast. Everything for me is thinking about contrasting elements, and I'm encouraged by the contrast on my subject that I talked about last week. So that's where I am in my mind. Where I end up can quite often be a completely different place, but I will just keep going. I will just keep enjoying progress here. Just taking a pause here to show you the vivid colour of the yellow. I've put masking tape again, duct tape down this left side. So when that's dry, I can lift that off, but I really like the colours. I'm really pleased with the colours that I'm getting building up. Well, I'm making progress. I've been mixing up, I'm even wearing grey green. I've been mixing up grey green, and I keep, to get a nice lighter and lighter tone, I'm just adding my white into it. So I'm getting that nice tonal effect. I did try I thought, I wonder what would happen if I just went in with some neat permanent light green, and I really didn't care for it at all. So then I used it in some areas as a glaze, so just washing it back, and I didn't like that either. So those areas I've covered over. The beauty of acrylic paint is you can remove what you don't like. So there's no worry about messing anything up, because you can correct, you can go back in, but at least you've ticked that box in your head that says, well, I wonder what would happen if I did this. And so have a go, try it, because you don't know unless you try it, and it doesn't matter if you don't like it, because you can eradicate it. I'm really happy with the way this is going. This is a different colour palette for me, for sure. And as with my sheet, as with the first sheet, I am in a position at the moment where I can keep going and keep going. I've been working and playing around more in the sketchbook, and I think that this is a good place to stop. And because already in the sketchbook, I've been thinking about composition. And so next week, I think next week, we'll look at composition. So putting a frame down is always useful. And I also brought down from the cabin, I'm still hanging on to my spot on the kitchen table. It's not easy. Not easy on this scale. I've got here, this is a C White canvas panel, an A3. And obviously, because Snake Plant is vertical, that's in my mind that this will be the format for my painting. I'm still not ready to start painting. While I'm waiting for paint dry, there's no reason why I couldn't put a layer of gesso on there. And I'll talk next week about different elements of composition. The other really lovely thing that's come from doing this, I'm so drawn to abstract art, but I feel that I want to have something recognisable in there. There's just something in me that wants to recognise something. This has enabled me to abstract that something in a better way than I think I've ever managed before. I can home in on sections and think, well, actually that is something very abstract and I like it. So I definitely feel that this is, again, it throws up, in doing these exercises, other pathways, if you like, show themselves, and that can only be a good thing. So I'm going to leave colour here. We'll have many opportunities. I've been playing in the sketchbook with other colours. There will be more colour along the way. I'll get to work a bit more and drop some images in, but I'm looking forward to moving on next week, composition, and getting started with the painting. Whatever your subject, start thinking about what you'd like your finished painting to be in size, in landscape or portrait, dictated obviously by your subject matter. Prep up and feel the excitement of the final painting. So until next week, thank you for joining in, and I'll see you next week. Thanks then, bye.